Okay, it is now live.
Good evening. This will be the deliberations portion for the October 22nd zoning board hearing. There is no input from applicants or the public. Here, board members will deliberate and vote on cases. So we will get started with case number one.
From the last case, from last month, I didn't have any objections to it. I think what he presented was fine for me. It was fine last month. I didn't have any additional comments or questions.
Anyone else thoughts? Tyrese, when you say that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off. We just said something. Right. Tyrese, when you say that, did you mean one of the versions he submitted or leaving it as it is?
Originally, I was fine with leaving it as it is, if I recall properly. I didn't see fit for him to remove any of the asphalt last month, but I think other board members did, and I supported that. But if it was a position, I would support the first option, not the dotted line one. I just don't see the point. I think it gets even tighter back there if he removes any more asphalt for what he's got going on. And then if you look at the condition, everyone's backyard looks like his backyard, where just seas of asphalt. So that's where I was with this case. And it's been like this for 30 years.
Well, I prefer the first option as to the second one. The applicant pointed out that if you took off some of that strip of asphalt around that curve out there, that the vehicle is definitely going to be going through the grass, which creates mud, which wrecks what's left of the yard. So I'm in favor of the first option.
I agree. I wasn't here last month, but just looking at where the dotted lines are, it doesn't seem like the impact is enough to make a difference, except negatively. So I'm fine with the first workup.
I am too. It's more feasible. The first one.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to state for the record that I reviewed the recording of the case and am familiar enough to be able to vote tonight.
Likewise, I reviewed the case as well, and I know enough about the case to vote tonight.
Cora,
Yes.
I did not send you the link.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't.
Did you listen to it?
No, I did
if
not.
you did not, you'll recuse yourself for this one.
Oh, okay.
You'll have 6 board members, so there's a quorum.
Okay.
Matt. Uh-oh.
Yes.
I didn't look at the link either because I wasn't here last time.
Yeah, you weren't here last month either.
I wasn't.
Tyrese was here, Jim was here, Holly listened, and Matt listened. That's 4. So we do have a quorum. Here? What's that?
Is David here?
David
is here. David, were you here last month?
Oh.
He's on mute.
I don't recall. I think it was only 4 of us, wasn't it last
Yeah,
time?
so let's do this. So the board members that will be voting on this are Holly, Matt, Tyrese, and Jim.
Okay, I'll make a motion to grant to accept the proposal of option 1 that was presented, and to accept the standards which aren't in the application by the
they're in the first one.
To accept the standards as written by the applicant.
A second.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will go down and poll each person individually. Matt?
I agree. I'm in favor.
Jim?
Grant.
Tyrese?
Grant.
And Holly? Okay, so the motion carries 4-0. My apologies to the other board members for not sending the link. Okay, case number 2, not a holdover, new tonight, 97 Wilder Terrace. We can open it up for questions, comments, discussion.
Fine with this one.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm fine with this one.
Oh, fine with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one I'm fine with too. It's a great enhancement too, I think, to the community, to the neighborhood. I'm sorry.
So I think if someone pointed out a good point of this, a good portion of the new garage, obviously the existing footprint, and then a significant portion of it is now asphalt. So he's not actually going over all new grass. A portion of it is actually asphalt now, which I think works to his advantage in terms of impermeable surfaces.
Yeah, so it's only a 3.5 foot strip.
Yeah, along the left side there.
Yes.
And I was happy to see he has support from his neighbors as well. He did a good job in getting that.
Yeah, he had quite a few emails actually.
I'm good with it too. I think I'm glad he's in the money. I'm glad he's doing well.
Adult money.
Adult money.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
No
Not
more
to be-
kid money.
I was going to say not to be confused with kid money.
I'll make a motion to grant and to accept the standards in the application, presented in the application.
A second.
Oh, did somebody second it?
I second it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Before I did. Okay, Matt,
In favor.
Jim,
Grant.
Tyrese,
Grant.
David,
I can't vote on this
Oh,
because of last week. I
is
was,
this the one you went out
I
on?
missed, yeah, because I
Understood. Understood. Lorraine,
yes. Grant.
Cora?
Yes.
And Holly?
Grant.
Okay, so that motion carries 6-0. Okay, case 3 is 1850 Dewey Avenue. This is the daycare center.
I have to say, I was disappointed in his presentation, but it's not about him. It's about children and the families. So I think it's a good thing. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I think one of the things to remember here too, Johanna talked a little bit about this in the beginning of the, during the pre-meeting. So sort of the reverse here, we were trying to keep those sort of uses away from daycare centers, churches, and things like that. This is sort of the reverse situation. So some of the things to think about are the actual proximity. So one is on the Westridge Road street frontage. This is on the Woodside Street, or formerly Woodside Street, street frontage. So there's some physical barriers between them.
I don't-
Well, if I can jump in, one of I agree the presentation wasn't,
I think you recused yourself.
You recused yourself, Matt, so you can't participate. in
Oh,
this
go
one.
ahead,
Okay,
man.
gotcha.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think that I don't think they'll ever, seemingly the hours will even
Right.
pass, and I think that the purpose of the daycare is the greater purpose, the greater good. So
Right.
Yeah, Cora, I was in line with you. I was no problem with that. I think that I just wanted to kind of get that on the record, just what are these hours, and you're not open on the weekend. That's fine. I get it. Everyone can join, but I had no issues with it. I think it's a fantastic addition.
well, that whole area was a parking lot for Kodak for how many decades? So there was nothing ever behind those buildings.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's going to be with the amount of additions and there's tons of families who live in those apartments. So that's going to be great for those folks. So I was fine with it as well.
It was too. I liked, as he was talking, one of the few things that I liked that he said is when they were working through the process that they decided to put it where the commercial spot where they decided to put it because they wanted it to have more of a neighborhood feel. And so I think that it being on that other street and that idea, I think that makes sense.
Good. Okay. Any other anything else on this one?
I'll make a motion to grant and to accept the standards as written.
I'll second it.
Look at that.
Jim,
Grant.
Tyrese,
Grant.
David,
Grant,
Lorene,
Grant,
Cora,
Grant.
and Holly.
Grant,
So that motion carries 6-0. And the last one is 197 Driving Park.
I'm glad that it'll be. I'm glad that it'll be occupied again. I'm not too confident in the owner. I'm glad that it'll finally be occupied and it won't be an eyesore. Hopefully,
I feel the same way. I saw too many holes in them.
it's way too many.
It's way too many. But like you said, I think for the better good, best to have it occupied than vacant.
well, he has had a few setbacks, which a lot of people have these days, so.
And it's a huge property. I don't think it would make sense as a single family.
No, I don't either.
yeah, it's too big.
It's huge.
Well, one of the things, so I want to point this out, so it's part of the discussion. You know, the question was posed about providing financials for somewhere in between in a 1 and a 4. He provided in attachment 7, 4-unit residential with the current configuration, profit loss of about $3,100.
Yeah.
So I guess making some reasonable conclusions here without having the data in front would be that going down to a 3-unit is going to probably move the profit down a little bit, but it's already not that high. I don't know. It's sort of what I was looking at.
That's a good point and a possibility for sure. It's
Just a possibility, just as a talking
Yeah.
point, because that information was not there. So going by what's in the application, just a, you know, something.
And, I think the cost is significant. I think a single family, I disagree with some folks. I think a single family is in character with this neighborhood, especially Dewey and Driving Park. They have large single family homes, which I think is in character with the neighborhood. But the cost piece, obviously looking at use variance, it was surprising to me that, if you sold 17 properties, why did, I didn't get the answer. Why did you keep this one? To Matt's point, to Matt's question, it seems like you are trying to, get C of O on this thing so you can sell it and get it out of code enforcement, because we all know you're just trying to get out of code enforcement where the sale can go through. So, but folks swear under oath, so we got to take them at their word.
We do.
So I had no other comments.
Yeah. I think you do have to take someone for their word. Their ulterior motives are, just not, I don't know.
Provided an awfully detailed list of items that he's done.
Yeah.
Do you have a permit for all that? That's what I really
Yeah,
want.
he'll have to have permits because there's been an open case on this property since it went vacant. So it's been in code enforcement, which means someone is monitoring it. So any work that gets done when an inspector goes through, it's the inspector's role to say, hey, look, I saw you did this. Get a
Well,
permit or verify that a
I've
permit.
been through that remodeling thing, and for your electrical, plumbing, all your mechanical, you permit.
Correct. Yep. You got to do all of it.
Just
Yep.
leave it alone.
Plus, he's got a huge yard there. I was wondering if there was going to be something, which it's not part of the case, but if something was going to be done with the yard next to the house.
Well, so that's a good question. So people often talk about the size of a lot based on the number of dwelling units in there, and it is sort of a significantly sized lot. There's
Big
a
one.
significant frontage along Tacoma Street.
Yeah, it's a big house though too.
Talk a little bit about I want to jump into the standards a little bit here. So we have talked a little bit about the finances. The unique circumstances clause. So the inability for him to yield a reasonable return results from some unique circumstance in this area. I know we talked a little bit about some, medical issues and, sort of break-ins and what have you, setbacks. Do you feel that those are unique circumstances that contribute to this case?
I mean, break-ins, no. Health.
Well, just the fact that, unique circumstance, this means that something specific about this property that has occurred, there's been setbacks of some sort that have contributed to the fact that this has occurred.
Well, in consideration of the break-ins, it would be, wouldn't it? Or
Yeah, well, I mean, you could, if you're making the case that he's had, obviously, there's been a series of setbacks, sort of beyond his control. So that's the whole thing. It can't be this self-created thing. These setbacks have to be something that the applicant, it's sort of beyond their control. It's unique. It was not a self-created thing.
Well,
Yeah,
his sickness
I think go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
his sickness and his income, that I think that has a lot to do with it.
Did he say that he bought the property in 2005 and it was burglarized all those times in 2005?
He did.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Corey,
Like you
don't
said,
get that
February.
brain thinking over here. You and David, I gotta watch out for you and David.
Clear.
So I guess to expand on what he wrote in his application, to bring a reasonable return, it is challenging for him because I think he is in a very low wealth neighborhood and community where he's not able to get that return back on what it would cost to deconvert it to a single family home. So I think he does have some way in where he's pretty locked in into what income he can generate from the property that is out of his hands on, the type of incomes that individuals who live in the community can unfortunately bring to housing. So I think that's in part some of his unique circumstance for him that he has no control on, someone who's able to pay a high rent for a home that from the exterior looks like it's in good condition.
I thought that too. Does he have projected rents in here?
I didn't see any projected rents I didn't see that in the profit loss.
did he mention also when he was going to start on all these projects, or he didn't
But to
say?
answer Cora's question, Cora, I think it's it's in his $22,200 number on attachment 7, but he doesn't break it down by how much each unit. So that's his gross annual income from those 4 units. But yeah, that was I missed that one. Should have asked him that.
In answer to your question, Lorraine, he said he's here tonight because he's ready to get started now.
Oh, great. I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah, he offered testimony saying that was the reason for this case tonight.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So we talked a little bit about self-created character of the area. I know a few folks mentioned they have some knowledge that there are some other existing larger structures with more than 1 unit in them in the area.
Yes, it is.
You said yes, David?
Yes. But
Or going back to, I guess, does that number, I guess that 22.2 make, does that make sense? I mean, if you're looking at, so annually, so monthly, he's looking at about 18.5 that he's going to be getting monthly from these 4 units. And then with his single family, he's projecting $1,000, a month.
That's literally what I was just calculating. And so what he's saying, $460 per unit?
Yeah, that's what because some of the units are, I think looking at the units on the drawings, I think there was there 1 or 2 1-bedrooms?
One.
yeah, one 2-bedroom, 1 2, and 2 studios.
I think he's under projecting rent there.
Very
Bro.
much.
He's under than a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get a 1-bedroom over there for that.
No, not for 4.
Not
Yeah.
for $400.
No.
What numbers,
another
Cora,
thing-
what numbers are you working on what attachment?
So what I did was the 22.2 divided by 12 months, which is 18.
Oh, I see.
Divided by
Okay.
the 4 units is only $460 per unit. And however he configures that, it may be more or less for whatever unit. Even 12,000 for the year as a single family is low for the side. If that
It's high.
makes a family 2,600 square feet, he could absolutely get more than $1,000 a month. So I think on both sides we're projecting a little.
Yeah, because I think even if it was, a Section 8 or something like that, they would pay more for a single family than $1,000 a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially one that big.
Absolutely.
Something else to consider is that, and this is just what I found with rentals in that particular area, is that the more units that you have connected, this is kind of the case in general, but the more units that you have connected, the more turnover that you generally have. I know that he's got 8% calculated in there for loss, but I think that's kind of low too. So I'm truly just kind of questioning all the numbers here for the most part, other than the ones that are locked in, like taxes and things of that nature. It's certainly something to take into consideration in the decision, but I'm not sure if that's appropriate for the full consideration here. So,
Well, on these use variances, you're always going to see these numbers never make sense. In any,
They
I
never
haven't got
do.
one that makes
They
any
never
sense.
do. You can
But
set
I
the
think
all of
on the other hand,
me.
you know, if you know, I don't believe he'll do anything with the, you know, we're left with, is he gonna, he said he's gonna do something with the property, or if we tell him he got to do convert it, it's going to continue to be vacant. I mean, he's not going to invest the money. I mean, he'll probably somehow try to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I think it's better than an empty house and lot, no matter what he's going to do.
And I don't think it matters if he keeps it or sells. I mean, either way.
Yeah.
Matt,
did you need any more information?
I think it does. We still do need to do an analysis in that space, particularly because if he does decide to rent the units at just for the sake of arguing the $460 per month, he's probably going to find tenants, but they may not be the type of tenants that we'd want in the area.
Well, how do you feel about that, Matt? I mean, this is getting a little into some subjective details.
Well, let's go back to, I want to keep this focused on the numbers here. So Corey, you said the number comes out to $460 a month, or I'm sorry, $460 a month, yeah, per unit. I mean, mixing, depending on the unit, bedroom.
460 plus or minus.
Mm-hmm.
Right, depending on how it's configured.
That's about 18 for the whole. Mm-hmm.
So that would go up a little bit. Okay. What did we leave off? No other remedies. So the last one is there's no other remedies. So no other means than the granting of this variance by which the hardship can be avoided or remedied to permit the economic use of the subject property. So,
and he says that he will have to file for bankruptcy based on the amount.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I agree that the turnover in a, like Matt said, in a 4 unit is greater than a 3, a 2, or a 1. I mean,
I'll make the motion to grant. Matt, did you have enough information with those standards?
Yes, I think I'm good. Therese has a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
David has seconded it. We'll run down. Matt?
I'm in favor of a converting it to a 2 unit, not a 4 unit.
Okay, so this motion then, the one that Tyrese made.
This motion is to
for 4.
Yeah.
For a 4, correct, Tyrese?
Yeah, for a 4. So
okay, so then you're voting no against the motion?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so we have no for Matt. Jim?
Deny.
Tyrese?
Deny.
David?
Deny.
Lorene?
You're muted.
You're muted, Lorene.
Okay. don't know. Ask somebody else. Can I go last?
No, we're running through alphabetical order for each of the cases. You're up.
Okay. We have 4 for it? I don't know. I question some of that too, so I'll say deny. I feel bad for the guy.
Cora
Deny.
and Holly.
We good?
No, I need Holly's vote.
Holly, so
I said deny, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
that's
hear
okay.
you. Okay, so the motion is denied. Okay, that concludes the deliberations and the hearing for this evening for the Zoning Board of Appeals. Thank you everyone for joining us. Chris, you can